Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys, because any reviewer should be honest of all things, because otherwise their opinion means nothing. Or at least that's what my supermodel astrophysicist girlfriend says. But, in this case, I'm going to be honest about the toys I pick for random review, because every now and then the reason I pick one is because it's time for it to leave the nest and to be thrown to the winds of eBay, and I want to talk about it while it's still here. And with a convention coming up in 2 weeks, that means a lot of stuff is getting thrown to the wind, and this one is next. No, this is not some attempt to plug my eBay page or my current sales or anything. Not that I have a link being posted on my Twitter account as around the same time that I'm posting this video. Anyway, we're going to talk about Classics Megatron, specifically the Deluxe one. This was the oddball of the entire Classics line because this is not Classics Megatron. This is not a classic. What is this? We got a Voyager class Megatron that actually turned into a gun. We never thought we'd get that again, but we got this. We got this in a 2-pack with Optimus Prime and a little DVD highlight reel thing that no one really paid attention to. As you can see, yeah, it's a Deluxe class tank. Very nice green color. Like, I will admit, like, I really dig the shade of green here. It's very emeraldy. It's very nice. But you will notice that what's kind of missing from this is any kind of camo. Like, the one saving grace I thought that this toy was maybe it's a G2 Megatron. Like, maybe it's supposed to be like the not gun Megatron that we got in the 90s. Nope. No camo. There isn't even any purple on this entire toy. Instead, the paint apps are this bronze color, which is a nice bronze, but it's a little bit strange because it's not a Megatron color, and it doesn't really, go in with this green that well. It looks okay enough, but it is strange because when you see a green tank Megatron, you expect purple camouflage, as it is. The only purple is on the Decepticon sigil here in the front. I will say, it is a modern-style tank, not an H-tank, so they didn't shortcut that. There's a little bit of a strange design oddity. He's on 4 sets of treads with this gap in between, which I'm not completely sure was necessary given how it was engineered, but whatever. It's nothing too painful or anything. And it's a decent enough tank. The molding is heavy. A lot of little panels going across the side. There's some holes here for rivets, and some internal details are exposed. And I actually do like some of the heavy molding here in the front, though there is a mode that will show that a little bit better, so we won't focus on it too much here. Across the top, you'll notice there's no hatch, like there have been on recent tank-ish toys I've talked about, because what human would climb into Megatron? And I really don't want to think about it. And you can see it's got a lot of exposed parts. I will say that. Once this thing transforms, you'll realize just like how much of the robot mode you can see right now. But I like that. I like when a transformer actually uses the bulk of the vehicle mode to create the robot instead of just hiding behind vehicle-shaped panels. So there's a lot. There's a lot I actually like about this toy as a result. Now I will say, as I've been saying quite a bit lately, he has the necessary playability of a tank. The turret does rotate all the way around, and we can raise the cannon up and down as well. So it meets all my requirements. For a little added bonus, we have a gun mounted to the top, which again kind of screams the G2 Megatron, just without the deco. It's just pegged in, so you can rotate it around as well as a separate gun, and it adds a little bit more value to the tank. Other than that, it rolls. It's got those little tiny plastic wheels on the bottom, but it's got enough weight to the toy that it actually does roll a significant amount. So that's pretty much what the vehicle mode does. Let's see what the robot mode does. We will put the gun aside for now, and we'll start by wiggling this section out and folding it all down. You can get the entire section out of the way all in one tug here. We'll go ahead and separate the legs and bring the feet forward, unfurling them from the back like so. Now, we'll go back up to the top and we'll start to get all this across. Now, there's a weird pagan system here where it kind of interfolds into itself when you collapse these parts together. So you kind of have to raise them up at the same time in order to loosen them up and get them out. They hinge down as such, and we need to rotate this entire section around. And at this point, we can actually lower the arms into place. Now they will peg firmly into position, assuming you have the arm out of the way so you can actually have the clearance to do that. Or, there we go. Nice tight joints. Like, really stiff and really, like, sturdy. Did I mention this toy is going on eBay soon? So, as you can see, there is our Deluxe Megatron in Classics form. Looking kind of good. Like, I actually dig how this toy looks. And as I try to kind of fiddle around with his right arm as I try to remember the correct orientation. We'll pretend it's that, and so we can move on. I actually really like the look of the toy. I like the wide shoulders. I like the forward chest using the front of the tank mode. I like these big solid legs too. Like, there's a lot I actually dig in this vehicle. Robot mode. And I use the word dig again. I'm trying to stop that. Let's take a look at the head. While I still have some semblance of sanity, it's very Megatronish. It's the bucket head classic design. Not too much else going on. It's very Megatron. I do like the light piping. It is again one of those shades that is very bright even in dim light, and it does help that there's a huge piece of translucent plastic in the back of the head to get as much light through as possible. You can see all that bronze now carried over to his arms as well to his shoulders, and it looks quite good. Like, the green and the bronze don't quite go together, but it looks decent enough. I just kind of wish it had been a little bit of silver, or, again, purple, so we can kind of get the G2-ness across here. This is the other thing that bugged me about the head. It's a G2 head. It's like, that's the dark plastic of the G2 head and helmet, and I don't know why. I don't know why they missed the boat on this one. Like, they eventually gave it Megatron colors for the special edition, but it went into G1 color, so, I don't know. I don't remember ever seeing this in, like, the proper G2 color scheme that it seemed destined for, but oh well. Let's see what else it can do without being G2 or anything. The neck does rotate all the way around. No clearance issues there. Shoulders. Universal on two different hinges to create that. Well, a swivel and a hinge. Let's be correct here. Bicep swivel in the left arm as well as a 90-degree elbow. You have the same shoulder articulation and the swivel, but because of the gimmick, yeah, we're going to cover the gimmick here soon. Okay. Going to eBay. No elbow on this side because of the gimmick, but you do still have the bicep rotation. You have a waist articulation, which I always like. Hips have great clearance all the way around. Thighs also rotate all the way around, and almost 90 degrees on the knee. And the ankle does rock back and forth, and because of the collapsing toes, you do have a good bit of extra balance when you get him into his poses. So he actually does do pretty good on the articulation. So in that sense, he matches up with the classics very well, in spite of taking his own little sense of design and appeal. Now, for added playability, if we want a little bit more for him to do, let's bring that gun back in. And it's a pretty simple gun, I will give it that, but there is a bit of a trick to it. Sorry, I need to pin this thing down. I'm sorry about that. We can rotate this up, and it's a kind of built-in ankle stock, which is kind of an interesting little added feature, as it really doesn't add anything. It just kind of makes the gun more interesting. And I like additions to the toys just to make them more interesting, because it makes them more interesting. Yeah, the gun looks good. I like the gun. I like that it has a little ankle stock. It gives it a little bit more appeal. But then there is that right arm. Yes, what do we do about that? Okay, so yes, he is gimmicked, and he's one of the few Classics toys that is gimmicked, which is probably why it's one of the black sheep of the Classics line. You can unfold it as such, and then you'll notice there's this ominous looking big red button that's sticking out of the top. This very tall button, and it almost has a history eraser button look to it. The candy-like button. I have to push! Oh, we have fun. So yeah, it's a rotation gimmick. You kind of get this little spinning claw thing going. Cannon kind of turns into a spinning club. And this is a little bit dusty, so there's a little bit of squeak to it. And this toy kind of got like a bad rap because it was one of the few Classics toys, the other being that Deluxe Prime he was packed with, that had a gimmick forced in. And I will admit, like, in that sense, it doesn't really stack up to the other Classics toys that really didn't need gimmicks at the time. But, you know, it really isn't a bad toy. Like, aside from that little accident, because it's just pegged in, guys. Like, it's only pegged in there just as a safety measure, just in case you don't whack anybody or any animals or younger siblings with it or anything. It's not a bad toy. Like, I just think it missed the mark on being a Megatron, in that trying to create its own thing in a line that was designed specifically to create the old things. So it kind of lost its identity a little bit. I think the purple would have helped some you know, to be a little bit closer to the G2 design, or just, you know, give us the special edition colors from the get-go. But whatever. That is Classics Deluxe Megatron. It's still a decent toy. I still really like this toy, even if he is going to be leaving the house soon. But, you know, it's just, you know, it's just, I have other Megatrons that are more Megatron-y. And this one just has a little bit of an identity crisis. Doesn't make anything wrong with him. There's just a missed opportunity here.